Jona Podkiwanok, Marcin, Regional Channel Manager Baciok. And that's all about my Hungarian language, apologize. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I'm really surprised seeing so many people here. Personally, I have a huge problem to align myself to the time change in the recent week. Do you have the same? Or are you okay right now with the time change? Okay. So it seems that it's much easier for you than for me, but we have to somehow survive this regulation. Okay, it's my big honor to see you here, and I would like to speak a little bit about the company who I work for, and share with you some, I believe, interesting news. What do we do in order to drive the innovation across the networking and finally build most modern network in the world and finally deliver the best-in-class security, but not providing the security appliance, but simply providing the secure networks to build stable networking for all of us. But before we start, I would like to play my favorite short movie. I usually watch this film and this explained to me the reason why, for example, Arista, we do something differently. Why when our founders started the company, they don't want to be simply just another vendor, networking vendor doing some maybe smarter, newer hardware, but they started the company. Ben can do that on the Bechtel's time. They started the company because they realized that in some period of time there was no networking vendor who can fulfill Google requirements. And there is no space for just expansion. We need to stop and start something from the scratch. And I believe this small movie explains us everything. So just a very short movie. Yeah. Do you agree with this small movie? I always have several things with me. One of them is my laptop is in this room. My mobile, the one is in pocket just for security. I have two of them. And finally, the most important thing which helps me to work from anywhere are my sunglasses. And when I started my job, my networking career, it was 1996. It was absolutely not enough, so I was able to sit down on the console, 80 by 25 with a Telnet VT100, and do some programming. It was a Unix, Linux, whatever, and it was the beginning. So I still remember the first router which I configured. It was the Digital Equipment Corporation router connecting to the Sun Network. Sun Network was the company founded by Andy Bechtelstein, the same who started Arista. And I configured the X25 address space configured to the frame relay. So is there anybody on site here who remember that kind of addresses? Yeah, some of them. So, but we are in minority right now. At the beginning, it was a standard. Right now, most of the people have only laptops, sunglasses at all. And we at Arista, we really would like to deliver the networking for the new generation people, for new generation world. So briefly about Arista. This is the company. The company started in 2004, if I remember correctly, started by Kanuda and Andy Bechtelstein as a response for the Google requirements to provide high-speed new generation switches to fulfill the requirements for the new data center. Right now, we have more than 75 million ports shipped worldwide. We are a company who are a few times bigger than many of the most famous companies in Europe, around 100 billion market capitalization. And currently we have, depends how we calculate, but we have around 22% market share in the high-speed Ethernet ports in the data center. But last but not least, our founders decided that we need to do something differently, and they say that quality is something which is the most important thing for our products. And one of the way how we approach the quality and security is that from the early beginning till now, at every single unit we do, every single hardware we do, there is only one single operating system. It doesn't mean that we have, like our competition, the same name. We have still the same binary file for all of the equipment we do. And that's the huge difference which increases the security, which I believe I will be able to prove. But that's the huge change. At the beginning, I still remember when I started the telco company many years ago, I have the whole Excel trying to explain me what kind of firmware I can upload to the particular switch or router. And it was the whole directory with different version of firmware with multiple bugs inside. And it was nightmare for me to do the upgrade of the whole networking. Here at Arista, one single operating system, one single binary file from the smallest to the biggest equipment we have. For me, it's a game changer. And when you ask our customer, some of you attended the peering days last week in Split. When you ask the biggest telco providers across the Europe, they are so happy that it solved them the weeks of work to have only one single operating system. That's a huge change. Also, not only our customers, but the Gartner, Forrester, a lot of different companies name us as a leader, but I will show you something here. Are you aware? This is the graph showing the market share. If I would like to ask you a question, who is the market leader in Hungary? What is the answer in networking? Okay, cloud? Cisco? Somebody else? Thank you. Great answer. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the answers varies, but I'm full of respect to my colleagues from Cisco. They are mostly in our part of Europe. They are the leaders. They are here from almost the ages, and they really do a great job. They have great products. But we at Arista, we decide to do something differently. And here's the picture from worldwide. Starting from the second quarter 2023, in the high-speed Ethernet ports, we are bigger. Also bigger in terms of selling ports, like in the revenue. And the snowball is coming to the rest of the world as well. And for us, for Arista, the Hungarian market is really important. I have a little surprise for you right now. So let me introduce first Zoltan, our system engineer. So he is the first person in Hungary working for Arista. But this is not the end. We have also second Zoltan. Our account manager, sales manager for the Hungarian market. But it's still not the end. We also have Gregory, who is our channel system engineer responsible for Hungary as well. And due to the fact that the Hungarian market is so important for us, we also have our legendary Surya with us, who is our mentor, senior channel manager for the EMEA. Thank you. And with this group of people, as well as with our distributor, Tamas, where are you? Oh, okay, so Tamas is getting the PO, right? So as well with the Clico team, and you know Clico much better than me, we would like to repeat this same picture, not only for the US or Western Europe, but also for Hungary. I truly believe that with that you will hear today, or when we touch Arista, you will see and you will feel the difference. And your customers, yourself, you could be an ambassador of Arista for the next time. So I spoke about the Gartner, I spoke about the Forrester in the past. That's okay. There are several different reports. Most of us are familiar with the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And the newest one for the data center market will be live in around 1-2 weeks. I don't want to share details, but we had the pre-approved version already, and the results are surprising. So it seems, I don't want to go to the details, but it will surprise all of our competitors. So the Gartner recognized us far away before any second competitor. So stay tuned, and when you get the newest Gartner report, then you will be highly surprised how the revolution of the networking market with Arista could happen. But how we approach this, what we have today? Why Google, for example, but not only Google, Microsoft, Amazon, SpaceX, I know that's not maybe not the best example today, but still most of the modern companies choose Arista, is that we have our vision. Our vision was, okay, I said about the quality, but I said that, listen, we believe that cloud networking should be for everybody, but doesn't mean that we are pushing you to use the public cloud somewhere in the public cloud, but it means that even if you're a small company, you should behave exactly the same. Your networking should or could behave exactly the same way, like the networking at Google. For us, it doesn't matter if you are talking about the biggest equipment or the smallest equipment. Behavior on the configuration should be or could be exactly the same. We would like to treat our customer exactly the same if this is one single small office somewhere close to Balaton, or this is the Google headquarters. For us, from the operating system point of view, this is exactly the same customer, exactly the same quality. And with this, we started when we started our business. The first goal for us was to build to destroy anti-pattern and build the patterns which we can replicate across the whole networking. Doesn't really matter of the size. Then when we build the patterns, when we build our technology, we call it spinal leaf, and right now with this technology we can implement everywhere. Then it was the time to create the automation. So of course we still can do the CLI, and the CLI is, let's say, industry based. So if you are aware about Cisco, you mentioned about Juniper, there's no issue for us to sit down on the CLI of Arista and configure everything from the scratch. This is exactly the same, and we can do this. But we are human, and if we would like to make something faster, then we need to look for something which help us to do the automation. So we design our management platform called Cloud Vision, which help us to automate and see the visibility, to have the constant visibility of the whole networking equipment we have in the system. So with this case, we, for example, change and we introduce the telemetry in every single device instead of having SNMP to have a full visibility. Finally, we provide the risk and compliance. So we are able to do the online and live audit check against our network, and if there is any bug inside of the network, so we are the first who knows it. So before the hackers can recognize it in the future. And finally, right now we are doing the cloud experience. I said about the telemetry, but we do support also all of the equipment with AI operations. Of course, this AI works very well if the system is connected to the public cloud. But if not, then we still can use the advantage of the AI. How it looks from the protocol point of view. Okay, so we started the company. There was layer 3, spanning tree, rapid spanning tree, BGP, OSPF protocol in the world. And then we start to build in the 2010 architecture intelligence. So we say, let's build the operating system which is open, which is modular, which is Linux-based, open standards everywhere, where we can do the patterns. When we create the spinal leaf architecture, finally, one of the foundation was that we don't want to be just another silicon vendor. We would like to utilize the merchant silicon in every single equipment, which makes the equipment much easier to, in terms of go-to-market, and finally, much safer and much faster for our customer. We decided to concentrate to build the operating system and the software, not to being the hardware provider. So that's our foundation, and we were able to start this in 2010, and we continue this journey till today. Then we provide the operational intelligence, which collaborate with open standards with the rest of our equipment. And finally, as I said, we just add the artificial intelligence, which can automate the configuration of our networking. So that's the whole story. So again, Arista, yes, we do networking. We sell the switches, we sell routers, we sell access point, but at the end of the day, we use the merchant silicon, and we believe the best-in-class software to operate them all. Let's look how it was in the past. Are you familiar with this picture? I built that kind of things with the Visio in 1997, 1998. Multi-layer, tons of different equipment, different product classes. This was campus, this was data center, it was iOS, CatOS, NXOS, Juniper, Tricom, Cabletron, tons of different operating systems. Spanning tree to avoid the loops, BGP or RIP to transmit the routing protocol. Different operating system. Even the same, I remember Catalyst 2950 as one of my first switch. Even for those family, I had several different versions of operating system. It was nightmare. Different software images, I need to check how much of flash I had, how much of RAM I had, what kind of license I have inside. It was really nightmare for me. And finally, when we tried to implement the first data center for the internet, we realized that if we need to increase the security and transmit the traffic to the firewall somewhere, it was several different hops to reach the firewall, then goes down, and it was from the operational, from traffic engineering point of view, it was nightmare. And I started my business working for the telecommunication company. And if our call center say to information, listen, the CNN.com, for example, website, this doesn't work, or Playboy.com, it was most famous during that time. Playboy.com website doesn't work. For our maintenance team, it was a nightmare because we had no end-to-end visibility. What's wrong? It was DNS, maybe it was so one of the connection broken, anything like that. So we were blind, and we spent hours to find the information. Where is the issue? Right now, with Arista proposal, we say, listen, forget about many operating system, just one single image, as I said, one single operating management platform to manage all of the systems. Of course, it will be great if we can manage only Arista equipment inside, but this is also possible to monitor and finally manage a little bit the third-party equipment as well. What is great here? So when I spoke last week with one of the telco, they said in this case when somebody from is calling that, listen, Playboy.com website or Twitter is not working, there is a little time between the information is reported to the call center and reaching the maintenance team. Right now, with our telemetry, the people can go to the Cloud Vision, go back on the line to the time slots, check the state of the networking from this particular time and see all the information, all state of the uplinks, all state of the ports, information about the errors, about the traffic, about flows. They have simply everything. So the information on the troubleshoot the network is way more easier than it was in the past, mostly due to telemetry we implemented as the first vendor in the world. Okay, so I said, our principle was quality, but second principle was to build the network. Doesn't really matter where we are placing this equipment. So from the internet and core, more than 50% of the internet providers right now worldwide is using Arista. One branch, data center, campus, or finally public cloud, we use the same equipment, with the same software, the same management platform. Of course, we use a little bit different devices because I don't want you to have at your, for example, vacation home at Balaton, having the big switch, the same like in the data center at Google. You will buy a little bit different form factor, but the same design, the same software. One network operating system, one consistent state and data-driven management, and finally one unified network operation model. Live and Spain, believe me, it works everywhere. On top of that, we really take care about quality of our equipment. We also provided a little bit of the zero-touch operations to improve the maintenance and implementation and provisioning. And finally, security is really important. So we build all the networking according to the zero trust networking topic. As a result, we are really proud about this because we can speak a lot about, we are great, etc. But there is independent reports showing something called vulnerability and exposure reports. So it simply shows how many critical error in the firmware has been found by the third-party researchers across the years. And it shows everything, right? So this is not a miracle because this is simply the result of the principle we started with our operating system. Remember, one single binary file. We don't need to test several images. We don't need to test several different versions. We just need to build and test only one single image. And this is the result of the bugs found in the operating system. I believe it, not sure if you see this for the first time, but for me it's really important. Okay, again, one single operating system, Marcin Scieslicki as a foundation, and finally best of breed systems to simply reduce chance of the failure. What kind of equipment do we have? I don't want to make this presentation as a portfolio presentation, but in brief, from the data center point of view, we can provide any, or we can build any data center in the world you can imagine. From the smallest one to the biggest one. The Google data center, the Google core is built on our equipment, the same Microsoft, the same Meta. SpaceX is run on our equipment. But also we have a lot of customers around the world, including Hungary. If we go to the campus, the same situation, from the biggest equipment to really small equipment, funneless equipment. This is layer 3 with access list with all the telemetry information inside. Yes, it's a little bit bigger, more expensive than the not managed layer 2 switches, but running exactly the same operating system like on the biggest, let's say, Google class switches. So if you would like to feel the biggest player in the world, you can start with the 710 PoE compact switches, and you will have exactly the same quality like Google, the biggest switches from Google. As well as the access points, the wireless, Wi-Fi 6, Wi-Fi 7. This is the standard, so I don't want to repeat, the presentation from my competition. Yes, we do exactly the same like the rest about the hardware, but our unique selling point is inside of the firmware. Okay, one question on my side. Can you tell me what type of car do you drive? Is it a modern car or maybe do you like some classic car? Who drives the, let's say, classic car? Let's start me with this question. So the classic means, let's say, young timer or old timer? No? Is there anybody who runs the classic car? One. Oh, in our case, it could be Lada or maybe 30 years old car. I don't know. When for the first time I visited Hungary, I remember you had a lot of Lada Zhiguli on the street, right? So for me, it's a kind of, that kind. Well, yeah, I know. There are still a lot of people who love that car. Yeah, but there are people who love that car and they like it. But we have to accept it. And there are people who love the most modern car. Today for this event we drove with the Tesla. I saw a lot of radars. The all AI intelligence inside of the car. That's really nice. So there are two types of people, right? About the classic car, I saw only one hand. Is that correct? Nobody else? Okay, so I will tell you the truth. I have two cars right now. One of them is more than 30 years old Jeep Cherokee. I like to drive this car. It's maybe not like Lada because it has an automatic transmission, air condition, electrical window, etc. But it's still a little bit only the electrical and electronic inside, and I have to do everything manually. When I have time, when I go around my home, I really enjoy to drive this car. It's small engine, 4 liters petrol engine inside. So yeah, that's dangerous and expensive, and it takes time. I need to go to the service to maintenance this car. But I like this. I personally like this. The second car I have, which I do use for the, let's say, daily business trips. If I need to travel to Budapest, for example, I use my XC60 with all the electronics inside, radars, the artificial intelligence system inside. It helps me a lot and save a lot of my time and helps me to drive much faster than with this Jeep. Of course, if I have to, I can drive to the Budapest via this Jeep as well. That's my choice. But for the daily business, I prefer much more Volvo. Why I'm mentioning this, right? Because this, at the end of the day, is exactly what we do at Arista. Driving the Jeep XJ is like, I would like to do everything in networking that do by myself. So I configure everything via CLI. I do my own scripts to configure the networking. Yes, this is possible. I drive the Jeep. And we at Arista, we allow you to go to the CLI, configure everything manually. Yes, it's more time consuming. It takes you more time. It's more expensive at the end of the day. It takes you a long time to reach Warsaw to Budapest, but that is possible. You can still, in our case, we can still tell you, you can run this CLI at our equipment. It will work. But if you would like to have, the network like Tesla or like Volvo, the new Volvo, let's put all the features we have inside of our equipment. Let's use the AI intelligence inside. Let's use the telemetry. Let's use the automation. And then you will feel that exactly the same driving from Warsaw to Budapest is much more faster, much more cheaper, much more efficient. In our case, everything is possible. You don't need to pay the license for do it by yourself or for the automation. That's your choice. You can have two types of car inside of the one networking equipment from Arista. Make sense? And the choice is yours. You say that there's only one person who drives the classic car. The rest are choosing the most modern. I believe that if you try the Arista, then you will see the difference. What do you mean? Unfortunately, it is. So I was tired when I drive somewhere during the ugly weather. And usually I would like to drive slower. But with all the radars, with all the information, with all the provided by the car, I feel much more safer and was able to drive. Yeah, maybe, but I'm a lazy person. And when I was younger, mainly in 1996, I spent days, weekends, all of my time in front of the console to try to programming the equipment, doing the routing protocols. I was a developer of the Debian, doing low-profile C code for the SCSI equipment. It was my passion. Right now, I have something different to do. I really enjoy to go for Balaton, for example, go to the mountains, spend time with my family on the sea, instead of staying doing the configuration. That's why I like the Volvo instead of Jeep. But if you'd like to go with the legacy form, you are okay. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what kind of technology you use, the legacy way or the most modern way. The most important thing ever is the way how any kind of vendor reacts in case you have some failure in your network. I believe that most of us have some experience with the support, post-sale support, the physical hardware or the software failure, etc. One of the additional last things we are really proud of is our support. Comparing to our competition, we do not outsource our support. Everything is done by our engineers. We hire our own engineers, and even the call center, the first line of support, is done by our tech engineer. So it's not possible that you call them and they ask you to simply shut down your network and reboot them. It's always at least level 2 engineer on the line. And there is a report called NPS core rating. And we are really proud that we are one of the best around the world, not only in networking, but comparing all the verticals together, we have the best in the breadth support worldwide. And this is our proud. We are really proud, and I heard it even last week from many telco service providers in the world. Listen, if something happened, we always had a problem with the different vendors. But when we called Arista, first of all, we don't need to call them because it works very well. But at the end of the day, if we need to call them, it's been solved very, very quickly. So the description of the services as it is, but what I would like to say about the support, it really works differently. We don't have a third-party employees to operate the service. We have our own tax around the world, and recently we also launched our tag in Central Europe. So you have to know that our developers are located in Central Europe, not outside. So the quality is really Central European in terms of the software. And this is one of the results of the common vulnerability reports. And finally, our tax is located also here in Central Europe. So there is a big chance that we can speak with the local language if you call the support. And we are located exactly in the same time zone. So I believe this is important at the end of the day. So you receive from Arista, you receive really modern networking, built for the modern times, not like for the past, with one single operating system, scalable, programmer, and standard-based architecture. You can use innovative and data-driven automation, telemetry, analytics. You don't need, but you can. We have superior quality, which help us to achieve the better security and better TCO comparing to any other competition. And you can read this in many different Gartner reports. And finally, what we are really proud, we have the best world-class support. With this, I really encourage you to stay in touch with our local Hungarian team, with our Kliko partner here, and try Arista. I don't want to go and spend more time with you talking about the slides. I would like you to touch the equipment and see the difference. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great day.